On today's episode, we're talking about those writers who took the future, added a couple robots, and then asked us, wait a minute, was this smart? We're talking about how AI and society are discussed in fiction.
One of my favorite topics.
All right, there you go. That's why I did it, right? Well, fun fact, because I was actually watching something on Tesla the other day, and all these people use these very long words for what would end up being the internet or the telephone. I think one of his things was the virtual pocket emulator device or something, which basically was a small, big, where you can talk to and connect with people without actually being there. So basically, the cell phone
The cell phone.
or the whatever. So obviously, we've spoken of stories with AI, and we're going to bring some of those books up again. But it's interesting to see how various authors talk about it. I've talked about it with you before and on other shows where a lot of these authors were science majors. So they actually studied physics and
Mhm.
robotics and astronomy. So, oops. So where do or what do they say about this? So, first up, the warnings that were written. I know that sounds like a doom and gloom, but the foundation behind a lot of what we see today is more apocalyptic than what was written. Most people, like, let's say, Asimov, when he published books like I, Robot, he was publishing also at the same time the three laws of robotics, which say don't harm humans, obey humans, but also protect yourself as the robot, protect yourself as the robot. Um, so, again, right off the bat, it's important to differentiate that these movies and these books about killer machinery is more so from a director's standpoint and not from the literature that it comes from. Asimov, my guess would be never thought of, "Oh, this idea is gonna be the end of the world," but because he knew how robotics worked scientifically, he wrote, "You have to make sure that you are processing the machinery correctly to make sure that nothing goes wrong."
Mhm.
Just clear and simple.
Mhm.
Of course, you go move over to Arthur C. Clarke, HAL from 2001, same idea. The computer in 2001 is not instinctually an evil computer. It's a computer programmed to basically not shut off to make sure that the ship runs correctly.
Right.
However, when you go to the film, the director took the liberties to make it more sentient and made it more scary than it needed to be. So again, the computer obviously is stronger than it should be, but Clark was never writing it to be a villain more than it was a super strong processor,
Mhm.
right? So you see the thing. Philip K. Dick, the one who wrote "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep," that would eventually become the movie Blade Runner, same thing. He's not talking about robots taking over, even though the film version ended up making this entirely different plot to the story. So if you had to pick an idea from all this, I mean, what makes the most sense? Asimov was the rules work until they don't. Clark was follow logic over, I guess, emotion. And then Philip K. Dick's was you won't be able to tell the difference. So you have to make sure that you always make it so you can. So it's kind of one of those things where it sounds horrific, but it's really just science at science base.
Right.
But unfortunately, because we enjoy to kind of make our own spin on things, you end up with horror over
Well,
science.
right, and remember back in the early '90s. I mean, you were still very young, but back in the early '90s, when the internet rolled out, the interweb or whatever you want, the World Wide Web, the WW, whatever they called it, it was so.
Right.
And I remember at the time, people were like, "The sky is falling. Oh my God, this is the end of the world, right? This is going to be the end of the world. It's taking us back to 1984 in the books and 2001 space. Oh my God, right?" Well, the world did not collapse over this. Social media maybe, but not the internet. So I think there's always this is it, even now is our computers going to take over the world? Is artificial intelligence going to take over the world? You still need the human, I think.
Well, what do these books actually get right about that? And the one thing we'll go back to Asimov first. It's AI doesn't create issues, it amplifies whatever's there.
Right.
And that goes to his robotics,
Right.
his Foundation series, where it has all of his iRobot, all that stuff, where it's the dependency on the robotics that causes the problem, not the robotics themselves. In 2023, MIT found that those who heavily rely on robots actually have a reduction in independent thought because they
Mm,
are using a lot more machine than they are their own brain power. So again, this isn't a robots are coming to conquer.
right.
This is a robots are only showing what the issue already was that we never got around to actually solving.
Right.
People like Bradbury, we've talked about Fahrenheit 451 with the book burning thing. We've talked about, something wicked this way comes, where the bad guy ends up just being more of like our visual of life. None of these people are saying it's the thing's fault. It's the way we go about not understanding or understanding, depending on your angle, of what the problem is.
Right. And we're seeing,
So
yeah, and we're seeing that now. We're seeing that now in the artificial intelligence world, right?
right, and I think the best question is, and I think we're past the question, but, were we really prepared to begin with to use all the machinery because of the fact that we didn't know the problems beforehand anyway? Obviously, it's kind of a moot point at this, level, but the question still stands. Were we ready, or did we kind of do it because we thought it was gonna do something, only to find out it just enhanced problems that were already situated in the machine,
Yes and
right? I
yes.
mean, it's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
weird,
Yeah. I mean, yes and yes.
so where does the conversation go now in your fiction? So books like Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro, that was published in 2021, they aren't asking, is it going to destroy us? It's asking, what do we owe to it for doing this? What are we going to have to give to have the help from the computer or from the car or from the plane
Yeah.
now that we realize it can do more? So it's a little weirder of a question, and it's actually more eerie in that case because we're realizing like you're having the machine do all this. What are we going to owe at the end of it for having the machine process
Well, in
the
real
stuff?
time, Rob, let's talk in real time. It's the data centers that are being built to
Right.
support all of this, the AI that's out there, and it takes energy and it takes electricity. And I know you're reading, and I'm reading that there is a big concern that these data centers are going to affect our quality of life because of the resources that they use. Elon Musk, I read an article, wants to put the data centers in space. I don't know if that's realistic or not, but that might solve the problem a little bit. You know how I feel about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is here to help us, and most people have been using AI without even knowing they're using AI. Raise your hand if you're using an Alexa or Siri or any of those things that you talk to or your smart homes. That's all AI. So when we have fear mongers out there, and obviously I'm passionate about that, who are saying the sky is falling, the same thing now. I caution all of you who are listening to this, the sky is not falling. It's an exciting time. And as long as we keep the humanity in it, that's my message, Rob. As long as we keep humans in it, and now you're saying the same thing, and so are the writers. The humans need to be there. right?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, that pretty much that's what exactly where I was gonna end it, so there you
Oh,
go.
sorry.
It no, 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 I mean, that works, that's fine. You say it better than I do because I know you're doing it more
Artificial,
regularly.
it's my jam. Yeah, that's what I
Right,
do.
exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting, topic. It's, I mean, I use what I use
Hmm.
for the things, but at the same time, I spend a lot of time writing,
Right,
my own, paper, pencil, typing, whatever. So it just like you said, it's up to you how you use it. If
right.
you're, keeping yourself grounded, then cool, you're good to go.
And figure out what problem you're trying to solve. If you don't have a problem to solve with, then you don't need it. You just don't need it. But
Right,
if you have,
exactly.
right, figure out what the problem is. This is a thinking thing. AI is all about thinking. What's your problem? Is there something out there that can help me solve that problem? And at the end of the day, that's really what I think AI is going to settle into. Of course, there's all these other things that are going on, but for the everyday layperson, it's going to help business people work smarter, not harder. It's going to leverage the playing field. So all of these books that were written foreseeing the future, literally foreseeing the
Right.
future, I'm in awe of the ability of these authors. Truly, Rob. I mean, that fact that they come. You said they went to school, science, and all that. They had that background, but to be able to foresee, it's like, what did they know that we didn't? I'm always fascinated by that. Go visit the bookstore. Next chapter bookstore dot shop. Lots of books. Do you have any of these books in the store, Rob?
I think we have, not these titles, but we have these authors, in our
Cool.
store, I believe, so
Cool. Go check it out. Let us know what you think. Rob,
go read a book.
go read a book.